What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Abe. This is EVE Online, and we are going to get into the December patch notes that were just announced today or released today. So, without further ado, let's go through it and see what they say and what the implications might be for them. So, we're on the EVE Online website. You can find it probably the same way I did. And let's just get right into it. So December 2017, came out on 12/5, which is when I'm recording this, and I'll post this tomorrow, so it should be 12/6 when this goes live. But it's the patch notes for the Arms Race Release 1.0, released on Tuesday, December 5th, 2017. Now, that means that these are in the game right now. So let's see. Features and changes. And it doesn't look like it's too super long, so we'll just get right into it. Greatly expanded the alpha skill set. This is what we were talking about for a while previously. So let me close this here. And it means that over 20 million skill points are available, including battle cruisers, battleships, Tech 2 small and medium weapons, and cross-training to all factions. And that you can only, I believe, and they may get into this here in a bit, but you can only get into like over the 20 million or over the 5 million skill point limit or whatever it was at, and what skills you were able to train by being an Omega account or subscriber for a while to build up those skill points. Once that lapses and you want to go back to being an alpha, you will have access to your skills and components with these restrictions. So there's a full list of added skills available in this dev blog, and if we open it up, we can see the good, the could be better, expanded alpha set, Tech 2 small and medium weapons, battle cruisers, battleships, all factions, yeah. So if you really want to get into what will be available, there is a long and exhaustive list of all of the skills that you can have there. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep going through this. So free skill training now ends when alphas reach 5 million total skill points. This included skill points in your unallocated pool. I don't know what the unallocated pool is, but the thing at the on your character where you can sort of apply skills from the noob training or whatever. They added a daily alpha injector, which is a new training option for alphas. It immediately injects 50,000 skill points into an unallocated pool. It may only be used by alphas, may only be used once per day per character. Can be purchased from the NES directly from secure.eveonline.com and can be traded on the in-game market. So, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I assume that it's something that you can buy with real money. That will just give you a quick 50,000 injection of skill points, and it'll probably be traded on the open market, but it'll only be applicable to alpha characters. Getting into gameplay, if a character's medical clone is set to a structure or station where he is unable to, he or she, let's say, is unable to access the clone bay due to permissions or clone service being offline, then when that medical clone is activated, he or she will now awaken in their school headquarters instead of their current corporation's HQ station. All right, that I guess clears up some of that. Corporate save locations can no longer be dragged between folders if the pilot does not have the communications officer role. Following on from the reductions in isotope volume and moon material volume released in Lifeblood last month. Actually, let's zoom this in here so it's a little bit easier to read, and you can see it better. I can see it better, and it'll just be good. So let's see. Reductions in isotope volume and moon material volume released in Lifeblood last month. Several changes have been made with the intention of increasing the economic friction associated with capital ship deployments and jump freighter hauling, stimulating the ICE product markets, improving the balance of ICE product consumption, facilitating the easier trade of high-value reacted intermediate materials for Tech 2 production, and somewhat reducing the pain that can be caused by heavy jump drive usage and high-stacked jump fatigue values. The changes are as follows. Let's see. Jump drives have an increased by 56% fuel use by Black Ops battleships, 100% fuel increase use by other ship-based jump drives. There's a reduction of the maximum jump fatigue cap by 20%, further reduction in isotope volume by 40%, and a 20% increase in jump freighter fuel bay volumes. So that sounds like they're really punishing jump drives and drastically increasing the demand for the fuel and all of the components that go into the fuel, which I believe is ice, among many other things. Fuel blocks. Doubling the amount of liquid ozone required to build all 4 block types from 167 to 350 per batch. Well, that's nice. Small tweaks to the heavy water and isotope consumption as well, primarily to round off the numbers and make math easier for people. So 167 to 170 water and 444 to 450 isotopes. 80% reduction in the volume of all non-alchemy Tech 2 intermediate materials, everything other than the unrefined stuff. And Tech 2 intermediate materials. Let's see. 80% reduction in the volume of all non-alchemy Tech 2 intermediate materials, everything other than the unrefined stuff. All right, so just looking at that and trying to get a quick takeaway, it looks like they're increasing the amount of liquid ozone required, which I think is what you get from ice mining, but I'm not entirely sure. I've mined ice, but I've not processed ice. Some minor tweaks to quantities and a reduction in volume of all of the intermediate materials, which an 80% reduction of volume of all of these things will make manufacturing and transportation specifically of all of those things much easier. And let's see, graphics. We've renovated 23 assets commonly found within missions to bring their visual quality up to our high standards. Whatever V5++ is, I don't know. We have removed the Missile Show Info 3D preview, removed unique missile geometry of each missile type and replaced it with a single geometry asset that gets scaled. Improves client memory consumption, that's nice. Planet icons will no longer render in real time. They have been replaced with static images. Upgraded FreeType SDK to version 2.6.0. The warp distribution bubbles have been updated with increased rendering fidelity, fewer texture artifact errors, reduced whiteout or overdraw, and improved performance in heavily bubbled environments like fleet fights and camps. So that will hopefully have the effect of allowing more ships to be in a given area without slowing everybody's stuff down. Missions and NPCs added the Arms Race and Yule Festival events, starting on the 5th of December and the 19th of December, respectively. The DED are continuing to report an increased Blood Raider and Garista's pirate activity. Capsuleers are advised to take necessary precautions. Resource Wars. Logistics pilots are now eligible for Resource Wars rewards. This also applies to logistics drone users. All Level 5 critical sites have been tweaked and rebalanced. All pirate cruisers will now target miners more often. That's unfortunate. Added some new reward crates to the LP stores, or the loyalty point stores. Added some new sound effects. Various formatting improvements made to show info window for Resource Wars beacons. Added text feedback to Resource Wars when attempting to open a hauler that is out of range. They added a combined total skill point entry to character sheet. Unallocated skill points plus allocated skill points. Structures and deployables. Activating a ship's self-destruct sequence will now drop their tethering from an upwell station. Looks like a bunch of user interface changes. The text edit options, such as bold and italics, now have a highlight when hovered. Changed how the notify message appears in the client. We have added a subtle entry animation and bumped up the opacity of the background a bit. We hope this will make the message a little more obvious when it occurs. Change the probe size slider so you can now click on the size you want the probes to be, and it will set the size instead of moving the size up or down incrementally. That's something that I was thinking they should change, and I'm glad they did. Disabling the ability to pan the camera using right click when tracking an object. That's nice because I got into trouble doing that myself over the last week. Changed the icon used in the update location settings window. You can now right-click bookmark icons saved at the solar system level. The probe and D-scan windows should now open when undocking, if you docked with them open. Unreachable systems no longer show max integer as jumps value when hovered on the map. They now show nothing. Removed the edit view location option when right-clicking on bookmarks. Edit location remains. Tweaked the top view slightly in the probe scanner window. Increased the opacity of region lines in the agency map. It is now possible to drag and drop character names into the search boxes for deliver items to, add members to access list, and find invitees for calendar events. You can now right-click on a work in a chat window to auto-link it without having to select the entire word. Contracts. It is no longer possible to suppress the pop-up for adding a non-empty container to a contract and selecting No, as this could block players from creating contracts. The new Empire selection interface is now available for newly created characters. Replace the color wheel settings button with a more intuitive cog icon. Fitting simulation. Added a filter to the holes and fits section, allowing you to filter out ships and fittings you don't have the skills to use. That's useful. Alright, defect fixes. Gameplay. Overheated modules that fail to activate due to range will no longer accumulate heat. Various changes have been made to make New Eden a better place. That's really vague, but thank you, I guess. Removed the Destroyer skill book from Career Agent mission rewards, as the book is already given in the tutorial. Marauders can now enter the Sanchez Nation Neural Paralytic Facility site. A looting issue with the besieged covert research facility sites has been fixed. A mission completion issue with the mission Feeding Frenzy has been fixed. Fixed the Career Agent mission Your Undivided Attention, so that it can still be completed even if the fleeing pirate is killed. You got to iron out all of those Career Agent issues because it really works people over. The unknown sequence item in the new player experience can no longer be sold on the market. An issue with the mission cash flow for Capsuleer's 8 of 10 that could cause it to break has been fixed. Well, that's great. I know a lot of people have had that problem. Fixed the mission Lost That Bet 4 of 5 so that it can now be completed using only mining drones. A mission completion issue with the mission Air Show requesting a flyby 5 of 5 has been fixed. And let's see, graphics. Extraneous clouds in the mission Burnt Traces have been removed due to performance issues. Serpentis Harvester and Gatherer NPCs now use the correct graphic models. Modified atmosphere audio range of the Warp Disruption bubbles. Reduced range of the Caldari Cruiser Onyx. Ambient sound. Corrected an inverted decal on the Upwell Citadel Fortizar structure. Fixed crew windows replacement at the front of Galente industrial hulls. Adjusted the default turret layout for the Minmatar frigate Rifter hull and variants. Excuse me. Repositioned the location of certain materials on the Minmatar frigate Wolf hull. Altered one of the textures used on the Angel battleship Macariel hull. Shifted the location of the boosters on the Caldari frigate Harpy hull. Reoriented stand-up point defense batteries to fire from structure geometry. Changed the Amar Force Auxiliary Apostle hull so the lights are fully hidden when the door closes during warp. Updated the booster textures on the Amar battleship Abaddon hull. Enabled ship ambiance sound to be present when logging into a ship in space. Repaired broken elements of the wormhole effect as well as updating it to make the destination system more easily readable from greater distance. I had to read that twice to really understand what that was all about. Broken elements of the wormhole effect as well as updating it more easily readable from a greater distance. Yeah, so I guess that pretty much verifies what I had heard, which is that if you look at the center of the wormhole, it'll show you the other side of the space to some extent. So, all right, updated textures and connected dynamic brightness variants and outer filament animation to the age of wormholes. Also made wormhole collapse more graceful. That's cool. I'm glad that they're adding some stuff to the wormholes. Miscellaneous. The 500 MN Digital Booster Micro Warp Drive Blueprint now has the correct name. Previously, it was called Bob. 18 holiday trinkets added to the game as the Yule Festival approaches. Project Discovery Phase 1 monument has been constructed and placed in a suitable location. Various items to mark Project Discovery Phase 1 added to the game. Selection of Empire's themed apparel has been added. Resource Wars fixed an issue where minimizing the incoming transmission window could break it. Fixed overlapping text in the Resource Wars Rewards Crate Splash screen. Fixed overlapping text on minimum-sized Resource Wars incoming transmission windows. Fixed the Resource Wars Rewards window collapsing into an empty window. Sounds like they had a lot of issues with the Resource Wars Rewards window. It's very hard to say multiple times. Rearranged the contents of Resource Wars Crate tooltips so that the order makes more sense. Removed penalty warning pop-up incorrectly displayed when engaging logistics drones on friendly NPCs. Under structures and deployables, they fixed a very rare case where a destroyed structure would not generate asset safety. Under text and descriptions, they corrected the moon probing help text to refer to refineries instead of starbases, adding reference to the stand-up supercapital shipyard's ability to manufacture capital ships to its description. And the calendar, they fixed an issue where the personal, corp, and alliance buttons in the new event window would slightly overlap with the border of the window, and various spelling and grammar and punctuation fixes. Under user interface, they fixed some inconsistent capitalization in the chat invite window, fixed an issue where some character selection screen elements were missing UI sounds, fixed an issue where the map browser could open after opening and closing the settings. After opening and closing the settings menu. Okay. Fixed an issue where the first-person camera graphic would not reload after jumping through a gate or wormhole. Fixed an issue where the deactivated station key pass blueprint would not display an icon in the training queue when training industry to 5. Fixed an issue where the first-person camera location would not reset when changing camera modes. Fixed an issue where it was possible to drag overview columns out of a windowed client, making it hard to get them back into a reasonable size. Fixed an issue where it was possible to move a pinned window if it was stacked with an unpinned window. Fixed an issue where holding a movement shortcut, orbit, or keep at range, and spamming click on a bracket would end up activating the approach command instead of the movement shortcut command. Fixed an issue when switching the tactical camera where it would not reset zoom level in an appropriate manner. Fixed an issue where the D-scan cone representation at smaller ranges and angles would not look good. Fixed an issue where the tactical overlay would open upside down in the solar system map. Fixed an issue where industry jobs in the last 24 hours would not show the correct label on French clients in the new and old map. Fixed an issue where a blank map could appear after resizing a windowed client. Fixed an issue where the filters in the probe scanner could reset after restarting the client. They fixed an issue where drop-downs in the settings menu could cause some text to disappear in the settings menu. Well, there are a bunch of these. Centered the icon for first-person camera on the ship HUD. Fixed an issue where Tech 3 subsystems were missing their slot size icon. Fixed an issue where the probe size slider would not move when using the custom probe formation option. Fixed an issue where docking with a full screen mode like Ship Tree open could cause the camera to be unresponsive in the hangar. Fixed an issue where it was possible with some planets or moons to have the look at camera focus on the wrong point in space. Fixed an issue where the probes, when holding control, would have the arrows pointing in the wrong direction. Fixed an issue where the overwrite filter pop-up message would not display when trying to save changes to a custom filter in the probe scanner window. Fixed an issue where agents that should not have appeared in the standings tab of the character sheet were visible and could break the standings tab. Fixed an issue where using the track camera on an off-grid structure would have a massive performance impact on the client. Fixed an issue where it was possible to make the dotted region lines disappear in the agency map. Fixed an issue where undocking with the agency open and an expanded card visible would close the expanded card and need a refresh for the window to function properly again. Fixed an issue where the new map would center on the current system after every jump. Fixed an issue where the hamburger menu in window title bars was not centered. There's a hamburger menu? Fixed an issue where the appropriate sound was not played when removing skills from queue via the requirements tab of a show info window. Fixed an issue where the sorting in the icon column of the directional scan window would not take effect until pressing the scan window. Fixed an issue where the Omega icon was not showing on skill books that were Omega only. Fixed an issue where the planetary interaction camera can become detached. And a bunch more. Fixed an issue where the remove button in the create new advert window was not displaying properly. They fixed an issue where marquee select would not work properly with UI scaling set to anything except 100%. Fixed an issue where the range on bookmarks in the new map was not correct. Fixed an issue where structures would not always appear correctly in the map. They fixed an issue where the standings bar in the character sheet could present incorrect information. That's problematic. Fixed an issue where the standings panel in the character sheet would not update if it was open when the standings change happened. Boy, that was a long time coming. Fixed an issue that with some overlapping buttons in the votes window. Fixed an issue that could cause some windows to appear above the top of the window and force a settings reset to resolve. Fixed an issue where adding skills to the queue from the clipboard could provide unclear reasons as to why a skill could not be added. Fixed an issue where the event expanded card in the agency did not have an X to close it. Fixed an issue where hovering a system in the map could leave the details obscured by the mouse pointer. Fixed an issue where the directional scanner would appear to scan while in the range of a mobile scan inhibitor. Fixed an issue where previous standing values in the character sheet would appear to change after a new standing change. Fixed an issue, that sounds like it's contradictory with one of their previous issues, but whatever. Fixed an issue where the capacitor would fail to display or stop updating. That's a real problem. Improved the rounding of attributes in the fitting screen, especially for resistances. When filtering the simulation window for available ship resources, fitting or unfitting modules will now update the list of valid modules correctly. The hulls and fits list in the fitting window will no longer jump to the top whenever adding or removing a fitting. Fixed an issue where dragging multiple corporation contacts onto a label will fail to apply the label correctly. And a display issue with the drifter booster descriptions has been fixed. There are only just 3 or 4 more, so bear with me. An issue where the mining ledger showed extreme prices for mission ores has been fixed. They fixed an issue when registering amounts of ore mined that in some cases was causing the agency to count more ore than actually mined and showing incorrect quantities in log messages. Also changed timing when mining log messages are displayed for mining drones from the moment they finish mining to the actual moment their ore is deposited to your ship. I often wondered about that. Fixed loyalty point store tooltip placement so that it tries its best to not show off screen. That's good too. Fixed an issue where combat probes and core probes would give equivalent scan results despite having drastically different strengths. This issue was introduced a few months back when the scanning window was updated and caused combat probes to be much stronger than intended. As this has now been resolved and combat scan probes have been returned to their intended strength. Alright, so that's it. But that's quite the load of changes. And if you have any comments or questions or anything you'd like to add to that, by all means, hit me up and let me know. And we're back to 100%. There we go. It was just easier for me to read this. But thanks for coming along. Look for me in game. I will be in and out over the next few weeks because I am moving and we need to have the electrical completely redone in the house we're moving to, and you don't want to lose all of your electronics because you did not have the wiring done correctly. So that's where we're at, and I apologize if I miss a few days. I haven't missed any days in the last 10 months or so, give or take, and I'm hoping to try to keep that going, but that's where we're at, and that's the reality of the situation. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.